Imagine opening your banking app one morning and realizing that when you add up your investments, savings, retirement accounts, and the value of your home, your net worth has officially crossed $1 million. Sounds like the moment life changes forever, right? You'd probably expect instant happiness, total financial freedom, and zero money problems. But here's the surprising part. Most people who become millionaires don't suddenly start living a luxury lifestyle. Many still drive normal cars, live in ordinary neighborhoods, and even keep working. So what actually happens when you reach a $1 million net worth? The answer has less to do with money and more to do with psychology. Most of us grow up believing that money is a finish line. We think, if I can just make six figures, I'll be happy. Then it becomes, if I can save $100,000, I'll finally feel secure. Eventually, that dream turns into one magical number. $1 million. The problem is that we often confuse being a millionaire with having $1 million in cash. In reality, net worth is simply the total value of everything you own minus everything you owe. A person might own a house, have retirement investments, and save consistently for years. When all of those assets are added together, they quietly cross the $1 million mark. And most of the time, they don't even feel rich. Why? Because wealth and lifestyle are two very different things. Let's imagine two friends, Alex and Ryan. Alex gets a raise every few years, but every raise comes with a bigger apartment, a newer car, and more expensive habits. His income grows, but so do his expenses. Ryan also gets raises. But instead of upgrading everything, he invests a portion of every paycheck into simple long-term investments. 10 or 15 years later, Alex looks richer. Ryan actually is richer. That's because building wealth isn't just about earning more money. It's about keeping some of it and letting it grow. And this is where reaching a $1 million net worth becomes interesting. At the beginning of your financial journey, almost all of your progress comes from your own effort. You work, save, and invest. But once your investments become large enough, they start working for you. Imagine you have a $1 million investment portfolio growing at around 8% a year over the long term. That's roughly $80,000 of growth without working extra hours. Your money starts creating more money. It's like pushing a giant snowball uphill. At first, it's slow and exhausting. But once the snowball gets big enough, it starts rolling with its own momentum. That's one of the biggest things that happens when you reach $1 million. The power of compounding finally becomes visible. But here's the part nobody talks about. The biggest change isn't in your bank account. It's in your mind. When you don't have much savings, every unexpected expense feels like a disaster. A car repair, a medical bill, or losing your job can create enormous stress. Psychologists call this a scarcity mindset. When you're constantly worried about money, your brain focuses on short-term survival instead of long-term planning. But as your wealth grows, you gain something much more valuable than luxury. You gain options. You can leave a job you hate. You can take time to learn a new skill. You can handle emergencies without going into debt. In other words, money slowly buys you freedom, not because it changes who you are, but because it gives you choices. Ironically, many self-made millionaires don't spend wildly once they reach that point. They understand a simple truth. Looking rich and being rich are completely different things. Looking rich is buying expensive things to impress people. Being rich is owning assets that quietly grow while you sleep. Most people spend money to look successful. Wealthy people often build wealth by doing the opposite. Here's the biggest lesson. Reaching a $1 million net worth isn't usually the result of one brilliant investment or one lucky break. It's the result of hundreds of small decisions made consistently over many years. Choosing to invest instead of spending. Avoiding unnecessary debt, ignoring the latest financial trend, staying calm when markets go down. These habits don't just build wealth, they change the way you think. In fact, the real value of becoming a millionaire isn't the number itself. It's becoming the kind of person who can delay gratification, think long term, and trust the process even when results are invisible. Because wealth building is less about intelligence and more about behavior. So if you're nowhere near $1 million, what should you do? First, stop thinking of $1 million as some impossible goal. Almost every self-made millionaire starts exactly where everyone else starts, with small, consistent actions. Second, focus on building assets instead of upgrading your lifestyle every time your income increases. And third, remember that the first goal isn't to make your money look impressive. The goal is to make your money work for you. Every dollar you save and invest is like hiring a tiny employee. At first, you only have a few employees, but over time, they start earning money and bringing in even more employees. That's how wealth quietly grows. So, what really happens when you reach a $1 million net worth? You probably won't wake up feeling like a movie star. You won't suddenly stop having responsibilities. And you may not even feel rich. But you'll have something many people spend their entire lives chasing. You'll have choices. You'll have time. And you'll have the confidence that your money is working for you instead of the other way around. Because in the end, the goal isn't just to become a millionaire. The goal is to build a life where money gives you freedom instead of stress. And the surprising part, that journey doesn't start when you reach $1 million. It starts with the very first dollar you decide to invest.